Good morning and welcome to our Marketing Plan Recovery Series. I'm Ann Hutchison with the Fort Collins Area Chamber, and we are thrilled to have you join us today. Our session today is focused on website design, and we're very excited to be sharing this insight with you. On behalf of the Fort Collins Area Chamber, the Larimer Small Business Development Center, and the Loveland Business Development Center, we would just like to say welcome, and I'll turn it over to Kat Rico to introduce our session.
Awesome. So we've had a great series so far this week. Thank you very much to the Fort Collins Chamber of Commerce for kind of pulling us all together. And then, of course, the partnership between Larimer SBDC and Loveland Business Development Center is awesome. We have a really strong board of talent that helps us with our classes and everything like that. And that's who we called on for this marketing recovery series. Earlier this week, we had Franklin Taggart and Craig McBreen lead us off with some basic strategy and talking about how we've, kind of pivoted our marketing strategies for our respective businesses. Then Greg Moore followed up yesterday with a bunch of information just related to digital basics on how you do keyword research and set up Google My Business and things like that are kind of foundational to marketing. Today, we've got Tracy Devlin, who has pre-recorded a session for us. Unfortunately, she wasn't feeling well, but luckily we've got all the information related to web design that she's going to talk about with us. And then tomorrow we've got Amy Alcorn of Aspen Grove Marketing, who's going to go over a fantastic amount about social media. And then Friday's series, I will be kind of capping us off with talking about email marketing, lead generation, how that goes into your sales process, and everything related to that. So overall, it's a very strong series. If you've missed any part of it and you still would like access to that, shoot Ann a message at the Chamber of Commerce, and I'm sure she'll be able to find a way to get you access to the full series because we are pre-recording every single one of these. That way we can get everyone the information they need, because we know that with the abundance of Zoom meetings lately, not everyone's able to sign on exactly when a session is scheduled. So before I start Tracy's video, I'll just kind of go over one thing, a quick bio about her. So she's the founder and creative director of Brand Design's Web Solution. She's been in web design and the development industry for over 20 years and has serviced hundreds of clients, both nationally and internationally. So 20 years in web design really means she's been there from some of really the foundations of, what we know as web design and use on a daily basis. Her experience with e-commerce has began as an independent analyst for IBM's WebSphere Commerce Business Application Software, where she tested and documented user experiences and interfaces. And her passion is really to help small businesses navigate the ins and outs of developing a web presence to compete in the online world. So that's a bit about Tracy, and we're glad that she's found a way to make sure that we have the information today about her session. I would like to encourage anyone that has any kind of questions. What we found so far from this series is that our instructors are incredibly knowledgeable, and it tends to be a bit of drinking from the fire hose, and it can be overwhelming for our small businesses. And that's why we have consulting. That's why we have free, confidential, one-on-one business consulting. Every one of our instructors this week is available for one-on-one sessions through the Loveland Business Development Center and the Larimer Small Business Development Center. Once I load up the video, I'll link the registration links in the chat. That way everyone can access that. But without further ado, I am going to get this video loaded up so that we can hear what Tracy's got.
Morning, everybody, and thank you for joining us. I'm glad to have you here today. What we're going to be doing in this segment of web design is to look at the 2020 design trends.
Sorry, I'm getting the video shared out real quick.
Beyond that, and also look at the industry best practices. And I think it's just good to note that today's customer wants so much more than a good product at a fair price. They also want to know what a brand stands for. And that means that companies can't just simply advertise their way into the hearts and minds of their customers. They need to engage them with content that illustrates your brand values and builds mind share and helps the customer feel good about your brand.
Sorry,
and
give me
who
just
you
a
are.
second here. I'm having trouble
So
sharing
what
out
I
her
would do
video.
today is compare building a website to building or remodeling a house. I think all of us can understand that jargon a whole lot better. So I thought we'd add a little bit of fun to this. And then when you're analyzing and planning for a new website or a website redesign, it is much like planning for building or remodeling your home. You first need a blueprint and a foundation to build upon. Then you begin the construction or...
Okay, sorry about the technical difficulties there. We're going to have Anne actually share out the video. For some reason, I can't access that particular screen to share it. So, and if you'll start at about a minute in. There we go. Thanks for your patience, everyone. We're being extra adaptable today.
That jargon a whole lot better. So I thought we'd add a little bit of fun to this. And then when you're analyzing and planning for a new website or a website redesign, it is much like planning for building or remodeling your home. You first need a blueprint and a foundation to build upon. Then you begin the construction or remodeling, whatever it might be, and add your finishing touches to the interior and exterior. And finally, landscape the premises to add all the bells and whistles to the overall property. And so with the landscape, we're going to talk about adding on chat boxes and tools that enhance your website. And then we're going to look at e-commerce options. And those will be today we're going to compare two e-commerce solutions during this presentation, and that's going to be WooCommerce and 3D Cart. And I think most everybody's familiar with WordPress and WooCommerce, and 3D Cart is actually a United States company that really does get pretty good reviews for the price, and it is a marketplace type of situation, much like BigCommerce and Shopify and some of those content management systems. But each of these solutions, WooCommerce and 3D Cart, has its advantages and disadvantages, and we'll be going over those. And depending on what your goals are and requirements are for your business, you may find that one of these solutions will be good for your particular e-commerce business. So I'll provide an in-depth comparison handout for both of these two solutions, and also one for between Shopify and BigCommerce if you're interested in those. And we'll have those available at the end of this presentation. So looking beyond 2020, I think is really, really important. And two elements that are going to be very important to plan for are virtual reality and artificial intelligence. And these are website tools that will be important as we move forward beyond 2020. Artificial intelligence is commonly used today in the form of chatbots that you see on websites, cart abandonment software where you can follow the person who abandons their shopping cart so that it's easy for them to come back and make a purchase.
Virtual reality is more prevalent in Europe. It's not quite common here in the United States, but it's fast becoming a staple for websites stateside. And the third thing, as far as virtual reality, is planning for voice search optimization. And that's one of the fastest growing web trends for search engine optimization. And you know, people who have a Siri or Alexa or whatever, and they're asking them to, say, order a pizza. Well, you want to incorporate your voice search options in your website so that you come up during those voice searches. And since most of your potential customers use their mobile devices more than their desktop computers, websites often have to optimize for these different mobile devices. And in this regard, artificial intelligence and voice search optimization can certainly help you. So first we'll take a look at the blueprint and the foundation. And the domain is the first thing that you want to have in order to get online. And this is your address. It is unique to you and your business, and no one else shares it with you. So it's like your home address. And as it's said in real estate circles, it's location, location, location. When searching for a domain, make sure it's easy to remember, shorter the better, and that hopefully it can include a keyword description of what your business is all about. And don't be afraid to use some of the new extensions out there like .shop, .yoga. There's a lot of different extensions these days rather than just your common .com and .net. And you can purchase your domain through many services, and one of the most popular ones out there is probably GoDaddy. Just make sure that you're not given a free domain with some of these services out there, as they may charge you a fee to change the ownership of the domain to you, and you want to make sure that you always have control over that domain that you purchase. And this is also important if you ever want to take your domain and hosting to another service provider, or you need to change the domain name servers or any number of things that relate to your domain and your hosting. The second thing is the hosting, and hosting is the neighborhood that your domain is located in. And a web host or web hosting service provider is a business that provides the technologies and services needed for your website to be viewed on the internet. Websites are hosted or stored on special computers, and those computers are called servers. And hosting can be delayed until just prior to going live. You need to first know what type of website you're going to be building and on what type of application you'll be building it upon. And as we move through this presentation, you'll understand why I say that deciding on who will host your website can be delayed until just before you're ready to go live. There are decisions you'll need to make before deciding on where you will want your hosting at. And tenure. Do you own or rent your property? And what I mean by this is, are you developing a website that you can easily take any hosting service, that you can take to any hosting service provider? Or do you rent the foundation of your website? When you build a website using Wix, Squarespace, GoDaddy Builder, Etsy, Shopify, 3D Cart, BigCommerce, all of those, you're using their proprietary software and templates. And unfortunately, if you ever want to move your website to another service provider, you'll basically have to rebuild the content and the layout, because that web design actually belongs to them. So just always keep that in mind. And then a platform. What is it? Where do I get it, and why it matters? Platform is what you choose to be, the best way for you to build an online presence. This is what you want to be. And the examples of platforms are WooCommerce, Wix, Shopify, just what I've talked about before. And let's not forget Facebook and YouTube as well. Those are a platform or a presence that you have on the internet. And there are many out there that are widely advertised that you can find as far as these different platforms. And there are 5 main platform categories that can help you identify which platform will work for you. You need to decide what category your business fits in, and that would be communication, entertainment, online marketplaces, comparison and reviews, or an information platform. And the 4 processes of how a business uses their online platform include recruitment, funding, if they're doing marketing, or are they doing e-commerce? So let's view what I found to be 2020 design trends. Sorry, I got distracted there. Correct design trends and elements will keep your site looking modern and professional, and you always want to have the best face forward when you're out there. Your website design trends in 2020 will be all about the soft shadows, floating elements, video. They're leaning toward minimalism and, of course, thumb-friendly navigation. And with the rise of wearable devices like smartwatches or even your smartphones and so forth, web design is generally thinking smaller. And when you have a website template, just ensure that it is optimized for mobile devices. The area most affected by this is your navigation, and that's the glue that holds your whole website together. And there'll be a focus on using color and to mindfully to evoke the moods and feelings a site is meant to trigger. And color is very, very important. Excuse me. Web design trends they're constantly changing, and I'd say that in the past 6 months, it has capitulated what may have been a realization for websites and e-commerce in 2030 to the present day because of what's happened during the last 6 months. And the growth rate of websites and e-commerce stores will speed up because of the crisis. Adding a little extra pizzazz to 2D layouts with soft drop shadows and layering elements on top of each other for extended depth will be a growing trend. And you'll see courageous color pairings used strategically together to make the web designs really jump off the screen. And I've read as well that they're going back to a white frame, which is not necessarily the whole width of the screen as you're looking at it. And I've read that there's it's more going to a boxed look. So we'll see how that develops. And during 2020, you'll see that web design is becoming more bold and daring, and you're going to see that there's a lot of glow-in-the-dark neons and highly saturated colors in combination with darker muted shades, and to give the designs a luminous dimensional feel. So, are you going to design a new site, build a new site, or are you going to remodel? And regardless of whether you're starting a new website or redesigning it, these elements that I have listed here are vital to your success. It will improve the customer journey and turn a really good website into a great one. And it's a statistic that 75% of people will judge a website's credibility on how it looks. So it's essential that every website owner focus on the user and keeping all of these elements in mind. So pick a theme that reflects your company values. Using themes, which are also known as templates, as a starting point will speed up the development process. And use colors to grab your visitors' attention. Colors are so important, and if you're doing or needing a website redesign, sometimes all you really need to do is change your color scheme, which will brighten it up and give it more impact. And then decide on the fonts that you're going to be using and make sure that they are easy to read. And proper layout is essential, and using headers will make life easier for your audience as they read the content on your website. And navigation placement is very important. Your users are going to expect to see the navigation horizontally across the top or to the left of the main content when they're on a desktop. So we'll look at choosing a theme. In searching for the perfect website theme, know what type of website you're building. What are your goals? Are you going to provide information to your customers? Are you going to be selling products or services? And again, consider your colors, your layout, and navigation as you explore your theme template. And do consider buying a premium theme. And premium themes are updated on a regular basis, so it keeps your site secure and it fixes the theme for bugs that may come up in the future. And they're just so much better than the free themes out there, and you'll thank yourself for spending a little bit of money on building a professional premium theme. And don't choose a theme with a font that's really hard to read, and look for flexibility and customization options. And as always, keep your colors in mind and always choose a responsive theme. Know your template provider and what kind of customer support they provide. When you're selecting a theme, it usually tells you how often or when the theme was last updated, and that's important to know as you're researching the type of theme that you want, to ensure that those templates are kept up to date and they have a good support system. And also strive for search engine optimization or SEO friendly templates. And then once you figure out what your goals are and you know who your target customer is, then you'll need to decide on what type of platform you want to use. And again, this is why you don't really want to invest a whole lot of time into website hosting until you decide where you're going to be putting that website. And the type of platforms, again, are WordPress, which is standalone and independent, and you can easily take it to about any provider that has a setup for the WordPress content management system, and most of them do. Are you going to be using a website builder such as GoDaddy, Wix, or Squarespace? If that's the case, then you'll probably be using one of their themes. The same with the e-commerce all-in-one solution, such as 3D Cart, Shopify, and BigCommerce. So colors. Colors do evoke emotion, and they're so important in your branding and laying out of your website. Customers place visual appearance and color above other factors when they're doing their shopping. And the color increases brand recognition by 80%. And color is not universal, and you need to know where does your ideal client live in the world, because colors that entice in North America may be entirely different from those that entice in India. For example, colors that affect North America online shoppers and this is really good to know about your colors, but yellow is optimistic and youthful, and it grabs the attention of window shoppers. And orange is aggressive, and it is a good color to create a call to action, such as buy or sell, anything that you want your customer to click on in order to get them in order for them to make that purchase. Blue is it creates a sensation of trust and security, and it's often seen with banks and businesses, financial institutions, and so forth. Red is energy. It increases the heart rate, and it creates a sense of urgency, and it's often seen as clearance sales, so that you can draw attention and get people or just to get that sense of urgency for them. And purple is used to soothe and calm, and it's often seen in beauty and anti-aging product websites. And green is associated with wealth, and this is the easiest color for the eyes to process, and it's used in online stores and brick and mortar stores too, to help relax the shopper. So let's talk about your website layout. Excuse me. Your main content, use it, it's consistent branding throughout the site. Use this as consistent. Leave plenty of white space between the elements. And the elements, I mean your main content, your headers, your call to action, and so forth. Just make sure that everything is laid out really, really good. And reduce the number of choices you offer to your visitors. Compress your images as much as possible so that your site loads quickly. Add breadcrumbs, especially for the larger websites, so that a person knows where they are and how they got to a place in your website. And make everything clear and simple for the user. And use easy to read fonts, and make your hypertexts and your links very obvious so that they know that where a link is at. And use color and contrast to your advantage. And you want to animate any top bars or pop-ups that you have. And another good thing to remember is that the top right of a web page is going to draw the eye to see your call to action immediately. And so your footer, it can be from 1 to 5 columns depending on your needs. And you can use the footer for copyright, shortcuts, secondary navigation, your legal information. And the footer is located at the bottom of a web page, of course, and repeats some elements of the header and body copy. It can, in addition to the fine print and copyright notices. And some brands have observed that they have up to a 50% increase in conversions when they optimize their website footer for design with specific goals in mind. And some sites use sidebars, not all. So keep your sidebars separate from the main content. And remember that on small devices, the sidebar usually only shows up at the very bottom of the main content when you're viewing things. And a width between about 20% and 40% is usually the best choice for a single sidebar. And some good reasons for using a sidebar on your website include better content organization for media websites, or to promote related products if you have an e-commerce site. It can also provide quick links to related articles if you're running a blog. You can use it to increase email registrations and provide defined space for advertising and calls to action. So let's talk about navigation. Your navigation bar is not the place to get creative. Put your navigation bar in a standard location. On desktops, it's horizontally above the content or left side of the screen, and it will either be the top left or top right hamburger menu on mobile devices. Keep your main menu short, and it's good to know that the short-term memory can only hold 7 items at a time, so you want to keep that main menu. Good point is between 5 and no more than 7 items on that main menu. And it should be simple and legible. You want to minimize your drop-down menus if you can at all, just because it makes it more simple for your viewer to find the information that they need. A lot of it's going to depend upon the size of your site and what you're giving to your customer out there. And the navigation should be intuitive for all users, whether it's desktop, mobile, for the elderly or the disabled. And you can see our little guy over here. You know, make sure that you have your content and your navigation and everything so that people on mobile devices can easily scroll the information. And the most important links should be placed at the front of and at the end of your navigation menu. And it's better to use keywords that are unique to your business as menu items rather than generalized titles. And intuitive navigation will be best for your viewers. If you have your logo, the logo should be at the top of your website or at the top left of your screen. And when you click on it, that should link back to your home page. That's just an industry standard. And having breadcrumbs, again, at the top of your page's content will allow your user to know how they've arrived at the page that they're viewing. And another thing for your navigation is to use text over buttons. Your website navigation should always utilize the text links rather than a graphic button. One reason is that Google can easily crawl text to establish search rankings, but it cannot read graphics. I guess it can if you have meta tags, but it's just known that if you use those text links and text navigation, it's going to help your SEO. And text formatting has really improved over the years, and it's just become as easily customizable as a graphic button. So we'll look at the interior design and the finish work of your website. A plugin extends the functions and security of your website and keeps and be sure to keep current backups. And you have all kinds of plugins that will help you do that. It's a piece of software that has a specific function, a plugin is, that can be added to your website. And these plugins, some are called components. They add new features to your website and integrate seamlessly normally with the website. They're a great resource because they allow your site to do things it otherwise wouldn't be able to do. And always keep in mind though that the more plugins you have, the greater the risk of problems occurring within your site. And the reason is that one plugin may have an issue with another plugin. They may not play nice, or sometimes the plugin will even have an issue with the theme that you're running. So just be careful about how many plugins you use and why you're using them. And some plugins are free, and some will cost you a one-time or an annual fee to use. And then tools. Tools are add-ons that help you do some things like test your website for page load times. You can test your browser compatibility and mobile views. You can use Google Analytics and client relations software and flexible e-commerce payment processing, and these are all part of the tools that you would use within your website as you're building it. And it's hard to argue that most crucial thing for your website, for the website owner in this universe, is to have a powerful SEO toolkit. And for you that don't know, SEO stands for Search Engine Optimization. And Google Analytics is one of the most popular tools among website owners that they use in cooperation with their website. And Amy and Kat will be discussing several of the tools that are used in conjunction with good web development during Thursday and Friday's segment of this series. So be looking forward to that. And then forms or social, okay. It's important to build online communities and have at least one social media account. And when you have those social media accounts, make sure that from those social media accounts you link back to your website, and that on your website you do have links to your social media accounts, so it all integrates together. And you need to collect customer email addresses to stay in touch with people. That's part of your social plan. And social also enhances your customer relations and makes them feel really important. Here we go with forms. Less is more. As long as you've collected a user's contact information, you can always follow up with a request for more data. With every additional field that you add to your forms, you increase the chance of losing a prospective users. Users can be very hesitant to fill out forms, and that is why it's a top priority to make the process of filling out a form as easy as possible. And users should be able to complete them quickly and without confusion. It's not always going to be the case, but this, especially if you are having people sign up for a seminar or something like that, you may need a little bit more information. But using forms to build your small business website's contact forms is not only easy, but it really is incredibly smart. And every form should serve a purpose or have a call to action. Like some of your forms on your website might be just to log in or register on your site. It might be to create a purchase order or a ticket reservation, book a room, maybe a payment checkout. Make those as simple as possible for your people. And it could be a subscription to your newsletter or a form to collect donations or even surveys. So a little bit of review here. Your blueprint is to envision what you want to give to your ideal customer and register your domain name. Those are the two first things that you really want to do. And then the foundation is to decide what type of platform is best for your business. Will you own it, or are you going to rent in the neighborhood on the internet? And whether you're building or remodeling, some things that you want to always keep in the front of your mind is to select your theme or template and begin building your website geared toward the 2020 design trends. And define your colors, your fonts, your content layout, your navigation, and always keep your customer needs first in mind. And then the exterior finish work is enhancing your website with plugins, tools, applications, client relation management software, and your customer interaction. So those are the 5 staples that you want when you're either redesigning or building your new website. So we're going to talk a little bit about building a website to sell in 2020. And first is your growth rate. And a growth strategy is a plan of action designed to help businesses capture a larger share of the market. Even if it comes at the expense of a short-term profit, the type of growth strategy a company implements will depend heavily on factors such as their finances, their target market, and the industry they occupy. And we need to look at the shopping habits of the consumers. They're looking at a world that's far different from the one that we left at the beginning of this year. And their shopping habits and behaviors and expectations have changed. So we'll take a look at that. And then customer expectations have changed as well. And knowing what your customers' expectations are provides the business with the opportunity to really rethink their online marketing plan and to pivot to effective tools that can help them during this recovery. 20 years ago, the retailer mode was retailer's choice. That meant that the retailer says it's a physical store or not open on Sundays or open during these hours, wait in line, pay this way, and they dictated to the customer how they were going to purchase. And those days are gone. It is now entirely about consumer preference and consumer choice. And then getting back again to artificial intelligence, and this is the machines that are specifically designed to think and act like a human being. And they've become really crucial, a part of our daily life. And according to Accenture, about 77% of the smart devices we use feature one form of artificial intelligence or another. And for small businesses with limited capabilities of a human, like customer service, AI allows quick interactions with the customers to provide relevant information in a short amount of time. And AI in web development can benefit both the user and the organization. In 2020, website content will be more video with voice script and less text. This is heading towards the precision over description. And consumers are demanding secure, scalable, and feature-packed web applications. So now we're going to compare e-commerce landscapes. And first is going to be WooCommerce, and it's a free shopping cart plugin for WordPress. And WooCommerce is open source. You can successfully integrate commerce with content that you develop in WordPress, and you can create your site the way you want it. Very, very flexible, and it depends on the products that you're selling how you want to present those products on your website. And on top of that, the platform tries to keep everything lean, so that you can add just the options that you need and not a lot of different things. So then on top of that, the user can modify anything and everything about their site, just about everything, I think, using plugins, and there's just a lot of options available through WooCommerce. And you can add unlimited products and unlimited users and take unlimited orders. And all you need is a good WordPress host that supports the e-commerce activity and some experience. You have to have a little bit of experience with WooCommerce, but it's pretty easy to learn. And then a website built using WordPress and WooCommerce has flexible hosting, and it can be moved from one hosting service to another without sacrificing the hours of labor put into the design. I like to look at it sometimes as being married. You know, you can either move along quickly, or with some of these other platforms, you're pretty much married to what you've developed there. And finding something different is always ugly. So templates, and there are thousands of themes available online for a starter template to get you quickly up and running with WordPress and WooCommerce. And we always, again, recommend purchasing a premium template, and they generally offer really excellent customer service and regular updates to keep your website secure. And a really good place to find your premium WordPress theme is at themeforest.net. And that's at themeforest.net. They've got thousands of templates on there. And if you search for WordPress templates, you'll find the top 5. And I've worked with all of those templates, and they're all very, very good. So your sales channels. WooCommerce has many features out of the box. However, for those who want more than the basics, WooCommerce offers multiple sales channels, license upgrades, extensions, and customized plugins. And there are currently over 3.5 million live websites that are using WooCommerce. And it's really not just about the quantity of how many users there are, but 22% of the top 1 million e-commerce websites are developed on WooCommerce. So next is 3D Cart. We're going to take a look at that. So 3D Cart is an e-commerce website builder that is proprietary, and it offers lots of built-in features, but it has less creative control than WooCommerce. Once the user navigates to their training modules, they'll find that adding products is very, very easy. And just remember that your website is built on 3D Cart servers, or you're renting your neighborhood there, and you're using their templates. So, and 3D Cart has multiple features, and some of the out-of-box features include a whole bunch of SEO tools, support for back orders and wait lists. They have inventory control, including batch editing and low stock alerts. And WooCommerce has a lot of these things as well, and you'll find the comparison chart in the handout that I'll be giving you. But 3D Cart has support for digital products. They have product options, including bundled items, and looking at wholesale versus retail. And they have a client relation management feature that is many different types of features that are built in, such as your mailing list manager. And they offer lots of SEO tools, I think I said that, and support for gift certificates, coupons, discounts, gift registries, and wish lists. So those are all things that are built in that you can use in your e-commerce setup with 3D Cart. And using 3D Cart does cost a monthly fee. But with that, you are getting your hosting and your template and many other things. And keep in mind that with WooCommerce, you will have a hosting charge, but it's going to be separate from your actual platform installation. So they both do cost money, but in different ways. There's a choice of 4 pricing packages with 3D Cart, and they all include unlimited number of products and categories, subcategories, unlimited hard disk file storages, unlimited bandwidth, unlimited 24/7 support, and no transaction fees. And you'll find transaction fees that come into play sometimes with Shopify and BigCommerce. That's something to consider as you're going forward. 3D Cart does offer templates through their platform. I don't know how many, I think it's 100 or more, I'm not really sure. But they have templates and themes that really make it easy, e-commerce themes that make it easy to start building your online store. And they provide themes for several different industries too, so you can start selling right away. And their pre-built templates can also be customized to match your own products and branding and put the spotlight on your brand and your business. And this is an all-in-one solution. They're hosted on secure 3D Cart servers. The platform provides features dedicated to store building, store management, and order management and marketing. And they have multiple integrations. 3D Cart offers integration with a variety of companies designed to provide customers with access to multiple sales channels. And, some of these companies that they integrate with include, but aren't limited to, eBay, Amazon, Google, Facebook, Shopzilla, and more. And 3D Cart also supports integrations with your accounting management software, and which is could be QuickBooks, Doba, and Doba is a drop shipper of wholesale products. They integrate with MailChimp and tax solutions such as Avalara and TaxCloud, which could be a very good solution for those of you who have complicated tax rules that you're trying to incorporate into your e-commerce store. And additionally, 3D Cart supports integration with real-time shipping carriers such as USPS, FedEx, UPS, and DHL. And again, we've got some comparison charts available for WooCommerce versus 3D Cart, and also for Shopify versus BigCommerce. If any of you are interested in that information, we can get that to you. So, looking at the new channels, what I mean by channels are things like your augmented reality, virtual reality, and voice search. And they're going to be very valuable new channels to web development in 2020 and going forward. And to define, augmented reality adds digital elements to live view, often by using a camera on a smartphone. An example of that, if you've ever seen images through Snapchat, that would be your augmented reality. And your virtual reality implies a complete immersion experience that shuts out the physical world. And as 2020 unfolds, expect to see more immersive 3D web designs that are going to be drawing your users in, and it's going to visually break down the boundaries between the digital space and reality. It's going to be a fun transition, I think, until virtual reality becomes more mainstream and cost-effective. Hyper-realistic 3D, it often takes up the whole screen on your device as you're looking at it. And it's the best way to create an immersive experience for your site until virtual reality becomes something more of a mainstream option for us. And it just takes advantage of visuals, but it also adds to your experience, your user experience as well. And it encourages your users to stay longer on your site when you've got something very interesting like that.
So we just wanted to let all of our attendees know we're going to go ahead and let the video continue to play. There's about 8 minutes left. We know several of you might need to jump off, but we will go ahead and continue with the recording. We will send that out to everyone who joined us today after as well. Just make sure to take a look at the chat. Kat shared their information about free consulting that's available either through the Loveland Business Development Center or the Larimer Small Business Development Center. Again, we're going to go ahead and play the rest of the video. We have about 8 minutes. Feel free to stay on the line if you would like, or you can access the recording after. Thank you again for joining us today, and have a great weekend.
And successful e-commerce firms are actively implementing innovative web technologies in their web development projects. And this includes features such as voice search, chatbots, and artificial intelligence solutions. So we really want you to build for 2020 and beyond. And I want to say that one key element that we really need to talk about here is the importance of your website security and protecting your customer information. And as more and more individuals are telecommuting or working from home, this is something that I think every small business, medium-sized business, big business has to really track and ensure that we're protecting our website as well as our customer information. And it's known that hackers attack at least 50,000 websites every day. And the attacks target all businesses, both medium and small, and approximately 43% of the attacks are targeting small-sized businesses. Our websites contain a lot of sensitive information, like your client's personal details, like their email address, their names, their date of birth, maybe, their credit card numbers. Keeping everybody safe is a really high priority, and we just couldn't leave today without stressing that enough. And so some of the top practices for increasing website security are using the HTTPS protocol, and that's having what they call an SSL, secure socket layer, on your certificate on your web server, and that's required almost by everybody these days. It's not only vital for ensuring communication between the web server and a client, but it also improves the basic security standard for all websites out there. And make sure you do frequent software updates, plugin updates, template updates to keep everything up to date, secure, get the bugs out. Make sure that you have sufficient password management. Can't say that enough. And secure your personal devices. That's your phone, your laptop, any of these items that you might be logging into your website on the server to upload information. But just make sure that your personal devices are secure, and again, do frequent website backups. And websites require the use of various software tools to run effectively, and they include content management systems, website plugins, software, among other things. And updating that software and the software tools is vital to ensuring your website security. And then the need to adopt effective passwords. Management solutions can't be stressed enough. And despite passwords being the easiest way of maintaining website security, they can also provide the highest security risks if not managed properly. And going back to your personal devices, the hackers often target the personal computers, gain a foothold into a secured website. For example, they can steal the FTP logins and passwords and use malware to inject malicious data and files onto the website through FTP. And excuse me. Moreover, hackers deem it easier to execute website attacks by using a personal computer as the gateway, and therefore securing a personal computer should be priority in your security practices. And again, backups. Stay prepared for the worst. Regularly back up a website. It's an essential measure for preserving the privacy and security of any associated information. A website backup consists of a snapshot of all the essential site components, and it allows the website owner to retain and restore critical data when an attack takes down a website. Essential components would be the theme, the plugins, the database, and all your essential files. So you would need all of those things to restore a website in the event it was hacked. So looking forward, businesses will stop looking at e-commerce as being a strategy or being a separate business where they have a separate team and a separate set of designers or a separate set of leaders there. And I think it's all going to become one singular strategy. And I think that we've found this out within the last 6 months, and where brick and mortar stores were shuttered and everybody really did have to go online in order to get what they were needing. And online retail is now an integrated part of business, and it will be going forward. And going forward, it's going to be online, offline, and retail everywhere. So there's a quote by Dr. Probet Josing, and it says that as business, we spend a lot of time designing the bridge, but not enough time thinking about the people who are crossing it. And I think that's very profound. And I think as business leaders, we need to always think about who's crossing that bridge that we're building. And so today's presentation has really been a bird's eye view of web design trends for 2020 and beyond. And it would be impossible to address design and development plan for everyone, but hopefully this has given you some ideas to build upon and to take your website to the next new level. And remember that you can always schedule an appointment with me at Larimer SBDC so that we can review maybe what some of your goals are and go into more depth. And in review, I've been in business since 1997, so I've seen a lot of changes, and I do custom web development and design. I also provide website maintenance, and you can find me at branddesigns.com. And my email is design@branddesigns.com, and telephone number is 970-226-8600. And I really want to thank you for your time today, and I hope you found this information valuable. Thank you so much.
Thank you all for joining us. We're thrilled for everyone that was able to dial into the call and everything. And that was a lot of really great information. So again, we hope you join us for the next part in the series tomorrow with Amy Alcorn, who's going to dig into social media.